Om Sai Ram. Let us understand chapter number 27, bestowal of initiation and grace. But before that, let us do the Namasmaran, followed by chapter number 27, and then we will conclude by doing the Aarti. Shri Sachidananda Sadguru Sat Maharaj ki jai. ओम श्री साई नाथाय नमः। 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 ओम श्री साईनाथाय नमः. Om Sai Ram. Bestowal of initiation and grace. I bow down to Shri Ganesh. I bow down to Shri Saraswati. I bow down to the Guru. I bow down to the family deity. I bow down to Shri Sita Ramachandra. I bow down to Shri Sadguru Sai. When a person takes refuge at the feet of the Sadguru, he gets merit of bowing to the trinity of Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh, as if in reality he has bowed down to Parabrahma and supreme heavenly bliss manifests. Taking the plunge into the ocean has the merit of bathing in all the tirthas and sitting in the shadow of the Guru's feet is like attaining all gods. Hail, hail to thee, Sai Satguru. Hail, hail to thee, the wish fulfilling tree, which grants absorption into the essence of Brahman. Hail, hail to thee, the ocean of self knowledge. Create in us respect for the story. May the devotees enjoy the nectar of your story as the chatak bird savors the raindrops from the clouds. May all your devotees savor them and be happy always. Let the devotees, as they hear your pure story, break out in perspiration all over their bodies, fill their eyes with tears of love, and have their breath caught in their throats. Let the listeners and their families be overcome with emotion, having horripilation and cry and sob often. Let their hostilities and their differences, small and great, vanish. Let them realize that this is a sign of grace of the Guru dawning upon them. The Guru's grace is not seen with the eye and is inapprehensible through the senses. No one except the Sadguru can grant it, and you will find no one else to do it in all the three worlds. Without unlimited love for the Guru's feet arising, desire, and all other six weaknesses in our character cannot be destroyed, and the eight sattvic emotions cannot arise in us. The Guru most pleased when the devotee knows the self, and more the devotee turns towards the attainment of spiritual goal, the more the Guru is to be admired. The body, home, son, and wife, I and mind, these are fruitless toils and turmoils of human life. All this momentary Maya is like the noon shadow. Let's not tangle in the Maya and make it an obstacle in our life. If this is the thought in your mind, then accomplish wholehearted surrender to Sai. Even those who are well versed in Vedas have become helpless in bringing to an end the power of Maya. He alone will be saved who sees God in all creations. Blessed indeed was Chand Patil, who, leaving the Nizam's regime, came to Nivasa, bringing along with him the Fakir Sai. The Fakir stayed there for 6 months to a year. Kama of Kanad village was made to stay there with him. So be it. Later, he went to the famous Takkali village and taking Dagadu Tamboli with them, Kama and Baba. This group came to Shirdi from there. There are numerous holy places of pilgrimage here and there, but for Sai's devotees, Shirdi is the most holy. If by good luck this contact has not taken place, then how would this great fortune of association with him have come our way? This was the greatness and fortune for us devotees. Those devotees who came and surrendered to attain their objectives, Sai showed them the right and virtuous path to ensure their well being. Therefore, the listeners should read over and over again the Satcharithra with full concentration. This is the best means of gaining the Guru's grace. The story of Sai is pure and holy. In the last chapter, it was narrated that a person's faith was confirmed in his own Guru and another was awakened with the indication of Akalkot Swami. One man was prevented from committing suicide and given a new lease of life by a unique method. His death was determinedly and designedly averted. Now, in this chapter, it will be narrated how Sai, when pleased, granted his grace upon his devotees and made them prosperous and happy. His mode of teaching was marvelous and depended upon how and to whom it was given. It was full of wit and humor, with light-hearted laughter. The listeners should hear it attentively. The many ways in which he taught have been discussed in this book. Depending upon the capability, the path was shown. The doctor knows how to diagnose the disease and the effect of the medicine. The patient is ignorant and asks for some jaggery at first. The jaggery, so though sweet, is harmful. The patient becomes adamant and is not even prepared to take a small bowl of medicine in his hand till the jaggery is first put on his hand. The use of force on a sick person does not work. The doctor then devises the plan and gives first the jaggery and then the medicine but achieves his objective. But he changes the anecdote to negate the ill effects of the jaggery. The given medication have their effect. Similar were the methods of Baba. This was not the universal principle. His ways of granting depended upon the qualification nature, service, and love of the devotee. Baba's ways are unique. When he was pleased with anyone, he showed his grace. Listen under what circumstance it was done. If it occurred to him, he achieved the welfare of devotees while casually joking and laughing without anyone contemplating it. If the devotee desired casually to read some religious book, they placed the book before in Baba's hands and received it back as prasad. Then, when the book was read, it would be most beneficial. It would achieve the highest welfare of the orator and the listener, as it would be full of prasad. Some offered pictures of Dashavatar, some the stotas of Dashavatar, some the Pancharatni Gita, and other holy books and pictures. Das Ganush, Sant Leelamrit, and Bhakta Leelamrit, also Vivek Sindhu, were offered, and Baba gave them to Shama. Shama, these books are for you, he would say. Keep them at home properly protected. Shama bowed and obeyed the orders and kept them tied in a piece of cloth. With this thought, the devotees also brought books from the shops to place in Baba's hand and to receive them back as prasad. Though Baba's nature was kind and generous, to do this also needed courage. So they took Madhavrao along with them to tackle the situation. At the opportune time, he would put the book in Baba's hands. Just as Baba knew the importance of the book, he also knew about the devotee's abilities. Sometimes, when the devotee puts the book in Baba's hands, Baba would leaf through the book, the devotees would put forward their hand to get the book back, but Baba did not give it back to them. He would hand it over to Madhavrao, saying, Shama, keep this with you. Let it be with you for the time being. Shama would specifically ask, Shall I give it back to him to whom it belongs, as he has eagerly stretched out his hand for it? Even then, he said, You keep it. Once, the devotee Kaka Mahajani, who liked reading the Bhagavad, carried with him a copy of it and came to Shirdi. Madhavrao came to meet him. He picked up the book to read it and went with it to the masjid. Baba casually called him, Shama, what is this book in your hand? Shama told him about it. Baba took it in his hand and returned it after seeing it. The same book, the same copy, the same Nath Bhagavat, which was earlier given to Mahajani as prasad from Shri's hands. This book does not belong to me. It is Kaka Mahajani's. I borrowed it as I desired to read it. Shama clarified. Yes, Baba said to him, the fact is that I have given it to you. You keep it in your collection tied in a piece of cloth. It will be of use to you. Be it so. After some time, Kaka came again to Shirdi and brought with him another copy of Bhagavad. He placed it in Baba's hands. It was given back as prasad. Preserve it well, Baba instructed. This alone will stand in good stead for you. Kaka was assured. This itself will prove the most useful to you. Do not give it to anyone, certainly, he said. This with a lot of solitude. Kaka bowed with love. Baba himself had fulfilled all the desires with least interest in any article. What need did he have to collect, as he was divinity personified in his conduct? Who could know Baba's intentions? But reading and listening to this collection of books were means of purification for his devotees. Now, Shirdi had become a sacred place, and Baba's disciples would come from different and distant places gather from time to time to celebrate, gain wisdom, and praise the Lord in series of sessions. These books would be useful to them. Shama would show them after taking them out for their wrappings. We will now no longer be there, but these books will embody the knowledge. Whenever the devotees would read these very holy books, whether at Shirdi or elsewhere, they would recollect Baba and his teachings. This seems to be the very reason for making the collection, whether it be the Ramayana or the Bhagavad or any other book dealing with spiritual matters or reading the life stories of Ram, Krishna, and others. It is only Sai who comes before the mind's eye. It seems as if Sai himself is playing the part of great characters in these books, and the narrator and the listeners see Sai's image before them every time. According to the Shastras, if a book is offered to the Guru or given as a gift to a Brahmin, therein lies the welfare of the donor. Was this a simple purpose for which Baba had assigned the work of to Shama with the words, You take this book home and keep it protected and wrapped in a cloth? Just as Shama was an ardent devotee, so was Baba's love for him. A desire therefore arose in Baba to put him to some regular practice for spiritual progress. So, see what he did. Through Shama and had no inclination, yet he was favored and graced. Listen under what circumstance it was done. One day in the masjid, there was a Ramdasi Bua. It was his regular practice to read the Ramayana. Early morning, after doing his ablutions, taking bath and doing the sandhya, after applying the sacred ashes, wearing the ochre robes, he sat at a fixed place to read. He read the Vishnu Sahasranama and Adhyatma Ramayana. Thereafter, he read these books often and often. and it continued in full faith. In this way, after quite a long time had passed, and the opportune time for Madhav Rao had come, something occurred to Sai Samartha. Listen to this story. Madhav Rao's services had borne fruit. It was time now to put him into regular practice and give him some prasad of the path of devotion so that he would get relief in the worldly life. When Baba thought like this, he called the Ramdasi near him and said, I have a shooting pain in the stomach. It is as if the intestines are tearing apart. Go, this pain in the stomach is not abating. Quickly bring some Sena pods. Unless I take some small quantity, this vexing ache will not stop. The simple Ramdasi was a loving devotee. He put a mark in the book and set it aside. He went running to the market in obedience to Baba's command. No sooner had Ramdasi come down the steps, see what Baba did. He got up from his seat immediately and went near the books. There, amongst the other religious books, was the book on Vishnu Sahasranama. He picked it up, took it in his hands, and returned to his seat and said, Shama, you know this poti. See, it is very beneficial. Therefore, I am giving it to you. You should read it. Once I suffered intensely. My heart began to palpitate. I was restless. I had no hope in myself. Shama, what can I tell you of that experience? How that book proved useful. This saved my life. I hugged it with my heart for a while and immediately felt relief. It seemed as if Allah Himself had come down and this life was saved by it. Therefore, Shama, take it with you. Read it gradually. Every day, take one or two words. It will give you great joy. Shama said, I do not want to do it. The Ramdasi will be furious with me and he will say that I have behind his back done this wrong. As it is, he is half crazy, irascible, ill tempered, and ever complaining. Why unnecessarily pick up this quarrel with him? I do not want this annoyance. Besides, the Poti is in Sanskrit. My speech is crude and rustic. My tongue cannot twist round these joint words. I cannot pronounce them clearly. Seeing all Baba's actions, Shama thought that Baba was to set him up against the Ramdasi, but he had no idea of Baba's heartfelt concern for him. My Shama may be mad, but I am fond of him. He has an unusual affection towards me. I am greatly concerned about him. I will tie the necklace of this Vishnu Sahasranama around his neck with my hands and free him from the miseries of the worldly existence by giving him a fondness of reciting it. God's name can break down mountains of sin. The Lord's name breaks the shackles of the body. God's name pulls out crores of ill desires from the root. God's name humbles the pride of death and ends the cycle of birth and death. I want Shama to be interested in the treasure of Sahasranama. The Lord's name chanted with full intent is very effective, but an unintentional pronouncement can be beneficial. Its power is manifested even when it is uttered unawares. For the purification of the inner self, there is no other simpler means than chanting the Lord's name. The Lord's name is the adornment of the tongue. The Lord's name sustains spirituality. It is not necessary to have a bath to say the Lord's name. Taking the Lord's name is not regulated by rules of the Shastras. The Lord's name destroys all sins. The Lord's name is always pure. The continuous chanting of my name itself will ferry you across the ocean of existence. No other means are necessary to achieve salvation. Whoever frequently repeats my name, his sins will be burnt. I consider him more virtuous than the virtuous who constantly hums my name. This was Baba's inner motive. and he acted accordingly. Even though Shama refused, Baba slipped it into his pocket. Shama's ancestors must have indeed performed good deeds, the fruits of which he received this blessing. This pure Sahasranama was sure to remove his worldly afflictions. Other religious performances have been done as per the rules laid down in the Shastras, but the Lord's name can be chanted continuously at any time. It has no limitation on account of a day being a holiday or the time being the evening worship of Shiva. There is no other simple method to adopt. In the same way, Eknath forced Sahasranama on his neighbor and thrust him on the virtuous path. Holy scriptures were read daily at Nath's house, but this neighbor, though a Brahmin, remained unclean and did not perform the Sandhya. He indulged in evil actions. He never listened to the reading of scriptures, and this wicked person did not even step into the Nath's Vada. Nath took on him and called him over to his house. Though he was born in a high caste, his life was being wasted. Knowing that this is a sensitive issue, Nath felt great pity. How can this be averted? He thought. Therefore, even though he refused, Nath made him to commit to the memory with proper enunciation the Sahasranama, one shloka at a time, thus uplifted him. The reading and the study of this Sahasranama is a broad open way of purifying the mind, and it is of ancient origin, which was Baba's reason for forcing it on Shama. The Ramdasi returned soon, bringing the senda pots of medicine. Anna, who was a mischief maker like Narad, was standing nearby and described in detail what had happened. The Ramdasi was as it is ill tempered. Moreover, there was Narad's intervention. Then who would be able to describe in apt words the uncommon incident? The Ramdasi was always doubting Thomas, and he had suspicions about Madhavrao. He said he made Baba the intermediary to snatch away my book. The Sena part was forgotten. He launched a vicious verbal attack on Madhavrao. His violent anger was uncontrollable, and he showed a lot of abusive language on him. The stomach ache was just a pretext. It was you who instigated Baba. You had an eye on my book, and I will not tolerate it. I am fearless, Ramdasi, as my name itself suggests. If you do not return the book without creating any problems, I will dash my head in front of you and scatter my body profusely. You converted my book, planned out this insidious drama, and putting the whole blame on Baba, kept yourself aloof. Madhav Rao tried his best to make him understand, but Ramdasi would not be pacified. Then listen to what Madhav Rao said very calmly. Do not falsely accuse me of being deceitful. Why are you fussing so much about the book of yours? It is not a rarity. Is your book decorated with gold and studded with gems? If you don't have faith in Baba, despicable is your existence. Seeing Ram Dasi's insistence, Baba very sweetly said to him, "Oh Ramdasi, what is the problem? Why are you unnecessarily distressed? Is not Shama our lad? Why do you quarrel loudly and vehemently for no reason, creating a scene? Why are you always ready to fight? Can you not speak softly and sweet words? Though you read these books regularly, your mind is still impure. Every day you read the Adhyatma Ramayana and recite the Sahasranama, yet you have not discarded your passions, which are uncontrolled, and you call yourself a Ramdasi. What kind of a Ramdasi are you? You should be absolutely detached, but you are not able to overcome the intense desire to possess the book. What is the name? which can be given to your behavior. A true Ramdasi should not have attachment, but look at the young and old with equality. You are harboring enmity for this boy and coming to the blows of for this book. Go and sit in your place. Books can be had in plenty for money, but not men till the end of the time. Remember this well. Shama had no knowledge about the worth of your book. I picked it up on my own and gave it to him myself. You know the book by heart. I thought of giving it to Shama, who will read it repeatedly, recite it, and attain utmost benefit. How captivating were these words, sweet and full of compassion, and also soothingly blissful and serene. There was no known peril. Ramdasi realized the situation, yet he said to Madhavrao, red with anger, instead of this book, I will take Panch Ratni Gita from you. I am telling you clearly now. Madhav Rao was pleased that Ramdasi was pacified. Why one? I will give you 10 copies of the Gita instead. Be it so. The dispute was thus resolved. The Gita was accepted as security. But why did a man unacquainted with the deity in the Gita demand it? One who constantly read the Adhyat Ramayana in front of Sai. Why should a Ramdasi be rude to Baba and quarrel right in front of him? How can I say that? Who should be blamed and why? If what had transpired had not taken place, how would you know the importance of the subject being brought home? That book, which was the cause of such a big quarrel, was also the reliever of Baba's pain. It is also now the cause of my well being. Invaluable was Sai's gift. If this great effort had not been made, Madhavrao would not have had faith in it. He would not have been able to pronounce the words nor be able to recite it. This Sainath, how loving he was, a rare teacher of spirituality with pranks. No one could understand how and when he would practice this art. His ways are incomprehensible. Later on, Shama's faith was developed. Dikshit and Narki taught him to pronounce the words correctly by repeating and conning them over and over again and to know their meanings. He learnt the book by heart. Be it so. This conversation between Sai and Madhavrao is a great clarification of Baba's simple and pure advice. It was full of great joy. Undoubtedly, it was pleasing entertainment. Similarly, Baba greatly loved those who studied metaphysics. See how he had shown the love when the opportunity arose. Once a parcel came for Jog at Shirdi post office. In order to receive it, he hurriedly went there. He found it to contain the commentary of Lokamaya Tilak and Gita Rahasya. Carrying it under his arm, he came for darshan to the masjid. When bowing his head to pay obeisance, the parcel also fell down at Baba's feet. Baba then asked him, Bapu Sahib, what are whose is this? He opened the parcel in his presence and explained about the book. He placed the parcel in Baba's hands book and Baba looked at it. Baba took it out from the parcel and held it in his hands, leafing through the pages. He took out 1 rupee from his pocket and placed it on the book with admiration. The book, along with the rupee, was handed over to Job, and he said, read it from the beginning to the end. You will be benefited. There are innumerable such stories of Baba's grace or grant of favor, but this book would be too lengthy. Therefore, I shall relate briefly only a few. Once it so happened in Shirdi that Dada Saheb Karpade came and stayed with his old family. He was steeped in Baba's love. Karpade was not an ordinary man. He was very learned and a person of supreme status. When He was near Sai. He stood with folded hands, with his head bowed very low at Baba's feet. He was thoroughly versed in English language and was a well known in the Council of State. He was an eloquent speaker, but before Sai he did not speak. Of the numerous devotees of Baba, there was none other than Karpade, Nulkar, and Bhuti, who remained silent before him. The rest of them talked with Baba, and some even argued with him without the least fear of self consciousness. But these three remained silent as if they had taken a vow. There were no questions of their talking. Before Baba, they did not even raise their heads. Their humility cannot be described. They listened to him also meekly. Dada Sahib, who was also able to expound Vidyarania's Panchadashi to others, uttered not a single word as soon as he came into the masjid. The lustre of the Vedas, however bright it may be, loses its brilliance in the presence of pure Brahman. Sai was the embodiment of the brilliant Parabrahma, and learning is abashed before him. Karpade stayed for 4 months, but his wife stayed on for 7 months. Both of them experienced new joy each day. His wife was very devout and had intense love for Sai. Every day she would bring Naivedya to the masjid with her own hands. Until Maharaj did not accept the Naivedya, the lady remained hungry. After he had eaten, she would eat, be it whatsoever. An occasion arose for Baba, who was very loving to his devotees, to show an easy and pure path. Seeing the lady's unstint faith, different saints have different ways. Babas were absolutely noble. He granted grace of or favors in a playful and humorous manner, which left a firm impression. Once the lady brought a platter filled with sanza, shira puri, bhat, varnan, kheer, sangade, papad, and koshambiri. As soon as this platter came, Baba most eagerly got up from his seat, rolling up his sleeves of the kafni. He went and sat down at his usual place for eating, pulled the platter in front of him, took off the outer cover, and got ready to eat. Many other Naivedya came, far superior to this one. Often they remained untouched. What was the greatly impelling reason to eat this only? Why should such a worldly attitude affect a saint? Madhavrajji asked Sai Samartha. Why should there be such a distinction? You keep aside all the other platters. Even if some are made of silver, you haul them away. But only when the lady's platter came, you got up immediately and started eating. This is surprising. Why is our food so delicious? Deva, there is a great mystery to us. There is some stratagem of yours here. Why should you have such likes and dislikes? Baba said, what can I say about the surpassing quality of food? In her earlier birth, this lady was a very fat cow belonging to a merchant, yielding much milk. Then she disappeared and took birth in a gardener's family. Later, she was born in a Kshatriya's family and got married to a merchant. Then she was born in a Brahmin's family. I saw her after very long time. Let me take a few morsels of food she offered with love and contentment. After saying this, he did full justice to the meal, washed his hands and mouth, pledged to show his satisfaction, and resumed to his seat. The lady did an obeisance and started gently pressing Sai's feet. Baba took opportunity to give her some beneficial advice. While the lady pressed Baba's feet, he in turn pressed those hands which served him. Seeing the reciprocity of service between Deva and a devotee, Shama joked about it. It is going on well, Deva. It is a pleasurable sight to see this reciprocal devotion. It is marvelous to behold. Considering her service, Baba was pleased with her and softly told her to keep on repeating Raja Ram, Raja Ram. Keep chanting this always. Oh, mother, your life's objective will be achieved. Your mind will be at peace and you will be immediately benefited. How potent were these words? They penetrated her heart and became embedded in there. Though these words Baba instantly imparted Shaktipat. Such was Shri Samartha's compassionate Sainath, the protector of all who have surrendered. He always fulfills the devotees' cherished desires and worked for their welfare. Whatever further say, bear in mind as it is spoken with great love, humility, and for the welfare of the listeners. I make a request because of our closer bond. As an ant is addicted to the sweetness of the jaggery, even if its head is broken, you should be enjoined to the feet of Sai. He will protect you with utmost care. The Guru and the devotee are not separate, though they appear to be different and distinct. He who attempts to separate forcefully is bound to be humiliated. Both are one, and one cannot live without the other. If the guru is imperfect, the disciple is the same. But for one who has learned at the hands of an able guru, that very thought of duality does not exist. The guru lives in one place and his disciple at another. He who likes it thus, then their relationship is only for appearance sake. If essentially they are not two, how can they be separate? One cannot exist without the other. Both are inseparable. There is no difference between the guru and the devotee. Thus, they are continuously together. The devotee placing his head on the guru's feet is a gesture of worship or outward vision. The devotee is one with the guru in his one pointed worship, and the guru is in union with his devotee. If they are not completely with one another this way, then the relationship is not worth its name. How would one obtain food and clothing? Do not even waste a moment thinking over it. It all depends upon destiny and can be obtained without efforts. If you make the efforts to obtain them, they would be in vain. Make efforts to only achieve spirituality. Strive for it day and night. Get up and arise. Why are you snoring in deep sleep? Such is the resounding cry of the Shruti, which lovingly wakes up the devotees. The root cause of all calamities is ignorance. Those who are rolling in the sleep of ignorance should wake up before it is too late and partake the nectar of knowledge from the Guru. Therefore, with great humility, go and surrender to the Guru's feet. He alone knows what is right and what is wrong. We are unknowing children. The Jiva individual is proud of its little knowledge. Shiva, God, who is all knowing without ego. Only the Guru can reconcile the difference and show that they are one. The Jiva is the Atma troubled by ignorance, while Shiva is the Atma troubled by Maya. Only the Samartha Guru is capable of eliminating the distinction between the two. Surrender the vacillating mind at Sai's feet. Then he will be the doer of the actions that arise by his inspiration. Similarly, surrender the initiative and energy to the act of Sai, then behave according to his will. Know that Sai's power pervades everywhere, so leave all burden on him. Performing all actions without pride, you will surely gain success. Should you even with a trace of pride think, I will do this, the consequence will become apparently immediate. There will not be a moment of delay. While Hemad was lazily turning and twisting from one side to another, in the sleep of illusion and fascination, he received the grace of God and Guru. It can be ascribed to destiny, since no study nor efforts were made. Guru and God, it seems, bestowed this honor for their own design. Sai wanted his life story to be written for the upliftment of the devotees. Therefore, forcibly holding the hand, he got written in detail, weaving a beautiful garland with the thread of constant meditation and different flowers of love of variegated hues. Let us offer it to Sai. Let us attain the throne of self realization and occupy it with splendor. Let us enjoy the heavenly bliss, devoid of pride and contented within. This is the life story of Sai, is unfathomable. The next story is more marvelous than this. Become very attentive for a while to listen to this purifying tale. In the next three chapters, Baba, through the experience of visions, shows marvels while he remained where he was. The first of these chapters deals with Lala Lakshmi Chand, who was drawn by a string of love and shown his proper place, about the lady from Burhanpur whose khichdi he wanted to eat, and therefore made her long for darshan and showed the marvel of love. And later, how Megha was asked to draw a trident in his dream, and how he received the Shivalinga unexpectedly afterwards. So many similar stories will follow after that. If the listeners hear them with devotion, they will be benefited. As salt dissolves in the ocean, so Hemad surrenders to Sai with the feeling of oneness and union. He does obeisance to him wholeheartedly. Moreover, he lovingly places that he may think day and night of Sai, and that nothing else may enter his head, which should be always alert. May the past life be obliterated and the future be annihilated. In this way, may he it at the Guru's feet. May there be well being. This is the end of the 27th chapter of Shri Sai Satcharithra, written by the devotee Hemad Pant, impelled by saints and virtuous people, called Bestowal of Initiation and Grace. This is offered to Shri Sadguru Sainath. May there be auspiciousness. Om Sai Ram. Let us now do the Aarti. Shri Sachidananda Satguru Sainath Maharaj ki jai. Shirdi माझे पंढरपूर बाबा रमावर बाबा रमावर साई बाबा रमावर शुद्ध भक्ती चंद्रभागा भाव पुंडलिक जागा भाव पुंडलिक जागा याव याव अवकेचन करा बाबा श्रीवंदना साई श्रीवंदना करा बाबा श्रीवंदना गणोपने बाबा साई धाव पाव माझे आई पाव माझे आई धाव पाव माझे आई बनेलुता घनवने कचरना दोयाची पाइन रूप तुझे प्रेमीन रंगीन अनंत पूजिम भवेव मा इन बने नमा तवेव माता पिता त्वमेव तवेव बंधु सदा त्वमेव तमेव विद्या दैरङ्गमेव तमेव सर्वं मम देव देव अयेर् Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Shri Gurudev Datta Satchidananda Satguru Sai Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Sai Ram. I urge all the listeners to read one chapter of the Sai Satcharithra and soak in Baba Bliss. Baba bless you. Om Sai Ram.